In 1925, a man sold the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal. He pocketed a fortune and skipped town. And then, a month later, he came back and sold it again. His name was Victor Lustig, and he never picked a lock or cracked a safe in his life. He didn't have to, because the greatest con artists don't steal your money. They make you hand it over, smiling. Let's set the scene. Paris, 1925. The Eiffel Tower was only about 36 years old, and honestly, a lot of people hated it. It was rusting, it was wildly expensive to maintain, and the city was struggling to pay for the upkeep. One day, Lustig, a charming, multilingual con man who used to work the ocean liners fleecing rich passengers, read a newspaper article moaning about the tower's repair bills, half joking that maybe Paris should just tear the thing down. Most people read that and turned the page. Lustig read it and saw the score of a lifetime. So here's what he did. He had official-looking government stationery forged. He gave himself a fake title, a senior official at the ministry in charge of public monuments, and he sent secret, confidential invitations to 6 of the biggest scrap metal dealers in Paris, inviting them to a private meeting at one of the city's finest hotels. There, with total confidence, he told them a secret. The Eiffel Tower was never meant to be permanent. It was falling apart, the city couldn't afford it, and the government had quietly decided to sell it for scrap, 7,000 tons of iron. But, and this was crucial, the public must never find out because they'd be furious. So the entire deal had to stay completely secret. It was the perfect setup. The secrecy explained why this insane offer was happening behind closed doors, and the dealers weren't suspicious, they were thrilled. The chance to buy the most famous structure in the world for scrap? They were falling over each other to win it. Now here's the genius part, the move that makes this story art instead of just theft. Lustig picked his target, a dealer named André Poisson, who felt like an outsider among the Paris elite and was desperate to prove himself. And instead of simply taking Poisson's payment for the tower, Lustig asked him for a bribe, a little something under the table, to make sure Poisson won the contract over the others. Think about how clever that is. A crooked official demanding a bribe is exactly what a real corrupt bureaucrat would do. The bribe didn't make Poisson suspicious, it made the whole thing feel real. So Poisson paid for the scrap rights to the Eiffel Tower, paid the bribe on top, and handed it all to a man who had absolutely no authority over anything. Lustig took the money, hopped on a train to Austria, and vanished. And here's the part that turned one con into a legend. Poisson was so humiliated, so embarrassed to have been fooled, that he never went to the police. He just swallowed it, which meant the crime was never reported, which meant that as far as the world knew, nothing had ever happened. So Lustig, sitting in Vienna with his pockets full, realized something delicious. If nobody knew about the first sale, he could simply do it again. He returned to Paris a month later, gathered a fresh set of scrap metal dealers, and sold the Eiffel Tower a second time. This time, the mark got suspicious and went to the police before handing over the cash, and Lustig had to slip out of the country one step ahead of arrest and sail for America. So what's the lesson hiding in a man who sold a landmark twice? Lustig never stole anything. He didn't break in. He didn't sneak out. He simply sold people a story they wanted to believe and charged them for the privilege. The con was never about the tower. It was about confidence. Dress it up, say it with authority, add a believable flaw like a bribe, and people will fill in the rest themselves. And the strangest part? The man who sold the Eiffel Tower would later go on to con one of the most dangerous gangsters in American history and walk away alive. But that's a whole other story.